There is no company on earth, even the largest of multinationals, which comes close to having to coordinate the array of essential services and functions for millions of people that a modern government provides. That's what the Minister for the Cabinet Office has said when he announced the government's transformational strategy last year. And given the complexity of users' needs, how can data help the public sector to deliver world-class services at a time of rising demographic pressures and tightening budgets? Here to discuss this with us today, I'm delighted to welcome Giles Pavey, Head of Data Strategy at the Department for Work and Pensions. Hello, nice to have you with us.
Hi, nice to be here, Sue.
Great. So Giles, perhaps could we kick off, talk a little bit about yourself and the work the data science team is doing here at DWP.
So I've been a civil servant now for 6 months, and it's an eye-opening experience that I'm really enjoying. So I actually came to the civil service having worked for 25 years in UK retail, doing data and analytics at a company called dunnhumby, so working on Tesco data. And coming here has been, in many parts, a real challenge and very different, but in other parts, really quite similar. So, like Tesco, here at the DWP, we have tens of millions of customers, 22 million people use our services, and we have tens of thousands of employees spread around the country. In terms of the challenges, our challenges are around really trying to understand what our citizens need, understand their behaviours, and really take that understanding to provide the very best services that we can to get the outcomes that government wishes.
So given the challenges you outlined there, what excites you most about how data and perhaps looking a bit into the future, artificial intelligence could help to solve some of the challenges you're facing on a day-to-day basis?
Having worked in data all of my work career and having seen the power of computers evolve, I couldn't really be more excited to see the possibility of what we can do with data to really understand, what people need, and also use those same computers to really help us deliver that in the most relevant and efficient way possible. And this challenge of how do we do more with less. You talked about the increasing demographic challenges that we all see that we face, and obviously the pressures on public finances. And I really believe that's a win-win situation where, not only through using data and insights and analytics, we can provide better services, but we can also do that more efficiently.
Some of the most exciting work in data analytics and AI involve the coming together of large data sets. And government's obviously been cautious about when it comes to sharing data to protect citizens' privacy and data protection. But what does that mean for you guys in terms of being able to access the data you need to make the improvements to the services that we're looking for?
Obviously, we take citizens' privacy incredibly seriously. We are custodians of the data that they give to us. However, we have an ethical responsibility to use that data to give the best services that we can. And so we are clear that we want to use only the necessary data, but to use all the relevant necessary data to give the best services we can. Here at the DWP, we've got, I would say, a proud history of making data at a macro level and where relevant at a citizen level available to other public bodies that need that. So we give data to deliver public good. We share data with the local authorities and other departments. What we're keen to do is make sure that we fully understand our customers' situations. For the typical citizen of Britain, they would expect that if they're dealing with government, that the government shouldn't be asking them the same questions over and over again. And that's something we try to eliminate. We try to make our services as relevant as possible. And the better use of data and analytics are really the key to that.
So that quite neatly leads me on to my next question. So to what extent is government responding to advances in the use of AI that we're seeing in the private sector? Do you think more could be done by industry to support innovation in public services? And if so, what do you think that kind of support would look like, particularly to enable public sector to embrace AI as perhaps the private sector is today?
So in order to deliver the services that we want to deliver in an efficient way and as relevant to customers as possible, we definitely believe that machine learning has a role to play. We, for some time now, have been using machine learning within our fraud detection and cybersecurity domains. And we're increasingly looking to use the likes of natural language processing or image recognition to better understand, say, be able to better route incoming letters or understand the sentiment of a question put to us or to have better knowledge management. So I think we are using, to some extent, most of what I would see as the cutting edge techniques. Obviously, the challenge is that we are delivering a service which is incredibly important to people and is also highly regulated. So we want to make sure that we are very clear on why any decisions were made when it comes to the outcome that people are receiving. So that's probably the area where our situation would differ from a private company. In terms of how we can better learn, that's something we're super keen to do, whether it's with UK academia or with startups or, in fact, any UK companies who are really interested in using data for public good, which is certainly our central aim. And we would never be so arrogant as to think that we had a monopoly on those things, and we're very keen to learn from outside.
So I'm quite interested that we know that in when we look at the private sector, the access to skills, particularly in the data science skills and looking at the artificial intelligence space, the ability to gain access to the skilled talent to enable you to utilize these technologies is a challenge. I'm wondering on your side from government, is that a challenge that you see, or are you able to access the skills that you need to do what you're looking to do?
So access to skills is something that we think about a lot. If we think about data science, which is often categorized as the coming together of numeric skills, computer science skills, and context of the situation, well, we're in a great situation where we have people with fantastic numeric skills who have a fantastic understanding of our context. So one of the things that we are always keen to do is to provide new skills, maybe in machine learning or other computer techniques, to existing employees to raise their capability. And I think from the outside market, we are sitting in a fantastic situation in the fact that we have some of the best data that's out there. We're in a fortunate position where we here in the DWP we both make policies and we deliver on those policies. So we have a chance to use great data science or both to come up with better policies and to make those a reality. So we have that. Ultimately, if you're thinking about competition, then maybe we can't be the highest payers, although we have that's something that we're looking to address. But we are delivering for a social good, which I think means a lot to a lot of people and certainly means a lot to us working here. And to have great resources, have a really thriving digital community here, and then to be working on great problems. And then lastly, I think we're in a good position because we have such a wide national footprint. Mm-hmm. So while we're speaking today here in London, this is not our largest office. We have offices in Leeds and Sheffield and Newcastle, Blackpool, Manchester. So, while we're always looking for talent, it's not something that necessarily keeps me awake at night.
So finally, Giles, just looking a little bit into the future, let's say 5 years, and looking at some of the opportunities that you think data and AI will offer DWP, and perhaps some of the challenges that you think you may have to overcome to really unlock the potential of data and AI.
So everyone here at DWP realises the importance of data to our continued success and to deliver the outcomes for our customers that we really want to deliver. And we see that machine learning will play an increasing role in the way we operate. I think in terms of the challenges, we need to be very mindful of being transparent in everything we do. Later this year, we hope to be publishing on our website our data strategy, which will include a charter of how we use data. We hold ourselves to high ethical standards, and the privacy of our customers' data is always to the fore of our thinking. And that's so important because we need to hold the trust of citizens in what we do. And I think through that combination of transparency and trust and being guided by a strong ethical framework, I think that we'll demonstrate the uses of data. We'll demonstrate the use that sharing of data can push forward public good, and through the ethical use of machine learning, I think we will be able to deliver more relevant services in a more efficient manner. So I am optimistic. We don't take any of this for granted. We know there are challenges, but I think that the rise in data and the rise in new techniques can only be good for us.
Exciting times ahead, Giles, indeed.
Very much so, yes.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us today and for taking the time. We really, really do appreciate you being with us. Thank you.
Literally my pleasure. Thank you.